welcome to my channel. Welcome to my stream. It is later in the day that I've been doing lately, but I had a kid that was been sick, so my wasn't able to work out yesterday. I spent all night taking care of one of my children that had a fever and was throwing up. It was a lot of fun, so I didn't get any sleep, which made it not a fantastic morning for getting up and working out. But you know, today it's kind of the same thing. I didn't have as rough as a night, but pretty rough. So I wasn't able to get up in the morning and get the workout down. So doing it now, I'm gonna be working on some squats. It's leg day. So much fun. I'm gonna be wearing the 20-pound vest for the duration of the workout. I'm gonna start out with just warming up with some body weight squats. Get the body working. I was gonna say I was very tempted to skip today as well, but can't miss leg day. Missing leg day sets it really not always hurts the most. I keep track of my kids. My one child is still sick, so I gotta keep an eye on them. It's always be pretty stressful when the kids are sick because they're still young, and it's hard to convince them to drink water and stay hydrated and stuff while they're sick. Especially they have a sore throat, so they don't really want to eat. But thankfully, they start eating some. And also, they're stout kids, so missing a meal or two won't like hurt them, but I really don't like it. It makes me nervous when they don't eat. I think kids eating has been like the most stressful side for me of being a parent. Like from the time they were born, just worrying that they're getting enough to eat. And we've never had a shortage of food, so I shouldn't be so worried. But it's very easy for me to fixate on that. Oh, did they get enough to eat? Are they eating enough? So when they're sick and not eating, it can be especially annoying. And 30-pound dumbbells. I'll tell you though, the great thing about parenting is when you're taking care of your kids and they're sick, they treat you like a superhero. Especially like one's pretty sick, I'll like carry them downstairs or carry them back up to their room. And they're like, oh, thank you, Dad, for taking care of me. It feels good. It is hard though. Like the first night they were sick was hard because they were breathing like really fast. And that's always a concern, breathing. And so, I noticed like, they would calm down because if I put my hand on their head or like rub their head and something, they would calm down. They'd slow their breathing down. I would like do that, and then they would breathe better, and then I'd fall asleep, and then wake up, and they'd be breathing fast again. One of my kids had some issues when they were born with breathing, so it definitely like stresses me out, like the breathing side too. There's an issue with breathing. I spent more time than I ever cared to looking at oxygen levels on a monitor. Rough one. Staring at O2 levels is a long-lasting issue with making sure your kids can breathe. But they're fine. They're doing much better today. And it's funny is but the temperature like of your kids, like when they're at just like a little fever, like they're at like 100 degrees, you like feel it, you're like it's up there, but you don't really like stress. But man, as soon as it gets to like 101.4 or 102, those 2 degrees, like you can really feel it, and they're just radiating with heat, and it's just harder to stay calm and relaxed. It's easier though now that they're older. When your baby has like a high temperature, that's like the worst because they can't tell you exactly how they feel or what's going on with them, and it's really hard to comfort them. And the first time I had to call the advice nurse because my first child had a fever. Like, and you're telling them all the symptoms, and they're asking you everything, and you're telling them like how many times your kid has gone to the bathroom, how much fluids they intake, and then when they tell you like, hey, it sounds like everything's okay, you're gonna be all right. It sounds like they're sick, but everything's gonna be okay. Like the first few times you have those calls, you're just like, as soon as they say they're okay, you get choked up and start crying. At least I did. Those first calls to the advice nurse, I definitely cried. And for both kids, even with the second, like when they would first get sick, because you've had one, you're like a little more seasoned when the baby gets sick, but it's still like sick babies can be rough, man. It's not an easy thing. Speaking of not easy things, we're gonna set up the dumbbells. We're gonna do 70-pound dumbbells for the squat, which combined with the 20-pound vest is gonna put me at 160 pounds for squatting, which is the highest I've done in a while. Last week we did 3 sets of 10 with the 65 dumbbells, 65-pound dumbbells and 20-pound vest. And as a reward, every time we get the 3 sets of 10, we get to move up in the world. Increase that weight perpetually. So the goal is to always do a full set of 10. So I'm going to be working on doing a full set of 10. But given how much weight it is, it's going to be really important for me to pay attention to my form. And if I start getting shaky, just not try to power through it. I feel like anything with squats, I feel like with knees and my back, I really don't like to push past a certain limit. It's very easy to screw up your knees and screw up your back. And I feel like they take so much more time to recover than anything else. I was talking to there was a younger guy that commented on one of my videos on YouTube talking about being 18 and 19 and lifting, and just saying like, hey, like make sure you have progressive growth. Like don't, I know there's guys that are just super jacked at 18 and 19 and you want to compete and get to that level and look like that, but a lot of those guys hurt themselves, and a lot of people hurt themselves trying to be like that. Having progressive growth over time, sustainable growth, I think is very important for young men and young women in their 20s and early teens. Like don't try to be the biggest person, because you can get there and then hurt yourself, and then you're gonna spend the rest of your life not being able to work out. Here we go. 70 pounds plus 20-pound vest, so 160 pounds. There we go. That's 10. Whew. I will say it's important though to not let that voice in your head that wants to quit the 7 be the one you listen to. Listen to your body. Don't listen to the quitter inside you. Those are 2 different things. And for me, the quitter voice in my head tries to sympathize with my body and be like, hey, you're really good. You're at 7. This is a great place to stop. At first, it doesn't look that bad. But just ignore that voice, man, and keep going. That's where discernment is key. Having good discernment. Is my body saying stop? Is it the right thing to do? Or is my mind saying stop because it's happy being weak? Which is the crazy part about who we are, right? You think our minds and our bodies would sync up better and push for our success as a collective. It's crazy that there's a part of us that's like, yeah, let's just stay weak. That's fine. Forget about it. All right. Here we go. Whew. Felt good. Tell you what, the elation of accomplishing something hard is an awesome feeling. All right. Okay, so that's the example. That's 7, but that's a smart place to end it. My knees were starting to waver a little bit. And that's the difference. I'm gonna take off 10 pounds, go down to 60-pound dumbbells. And keep going at the lower weight. All right, so 60-pound dumbbells again, 20-pound vest. Gonna be 140. Again, like I think it's really, really key. Pay attention to your knees when you're doing this. Don't mess up your knees. Losing your legs is giving up a lot of strength. Here we go. All right, that's 8. Like I said, the goal is always to do. I like to hit sets of 10, but you gotta pay attention to the body. I gotta say, you know, developing that spirit in yourself that wants to overcome and get stronger is absolutely important. Developing that spirit in your kids is critically important too. I think getting them to exercise, do hard things, whether it's going for long hikes, long walks, things that they have to push and dig deep to get done. I think you gotta start that early with your kids. And I've done that. My kids would like just start playing soccer on teams, and they're still young, and there's kids that like fall down and they're out for a long time crying with their parents, and you know that it's not that bad, but they just haven't fallen down a lot. They haven't gotten hurt a lot. And my kids, like, we ride bikes, we ride scooters, they run, and especially when they're younger, just running, kids trip and fall a lot. They're not the best runners, but when they're on the soccer field and they fall down, they're not like falling to pieces, and they're not having that. And I'm not blaming the kid like that falls down, gets hurt, and wants to cry. I do think though it's like when your kid is, 5, 6, 7 year old, and that's the first time they're having that feeling, and they're doing it in front of a whole group of people, maybe expose them to some of that when they're younger. They don't have to be hurt in front of everyone. Teaching them how to deal with getting up and being strong is important. And it's hard. It is not an easy thing to not coddle your kids. I think people say like, oh, like, I'm tough on my kids. And they say it in such a way that makes it sound like it's easy. Some people are just jerks. And I think that they're really good at making tough kids because they're just jerks. They don't have any compassion or empathy. But it's not easy. It's not easy when you see your kid hurt to like try and help them overcome that by being stronger and stuff. Everything in you wants to coddle them and pick them up and be like, hey, it's okay, and hold them. And like there is virtue, I think, in overcoming that and helping them deal with it and talking through it versus just automatically picking them up and wanting to save everything. And it's especially hard like the older my kids get because I don't want them to think that I don't care. Like that I don't care that they don't hurt. So like what I do is when they get hurt, pick them up, dust them off, let's go. You got this. And then later on, like I'll talk to them about like, hey, that was a pretty hard fall, man. You got really hurt there. That looked really rough. And like talking about from that side, when everything's done, like that they know, like, yeah, Dad did know that I got hurt. Dad wasn't just pretending like it was no big deal. Like I don't want them to grow up to be psychopaths. Now I will definitely say there's times like when you still today, man, I see my kid get really hurt. Like I'll still pick them up. Like when I hear that cry, where they're in a lot of pain, I still pick them up. That's like, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna overcome that. But the little stuff, help them shake it off. And you can tell when your kid's really hurt because they do that. Like they'll fall down and they'll like sit up. They won't say anything for a second, and they're just sucking in air so they finally can do that solid scream of pain. And that's like the worst because that things are really bad. They're really hurt. That's where it sucks. So I'm gonna go down to the maybe down to 50 pounds now. Whew. That's gonna be 50 pounds. Now, still 20-pound bench. Gonna be a total of 120 pounds. I was at this family reunion one time, and one of the cousins went up. They're like young, probably not like super young, but I think they were like pre-teens. And the one cousin, this girl asked the other girl cousin, like, "Hey, you want to come over and stay at our campfire tonight?" And the little girl says, "Oh, I'll ask my mom and see what she says." And the little girl says, "Yeah, but she says no, just like whine and cry and beg." And my one cousin looked at the other one and was really disgusted. She's like, "No, we don't do that." It's like, good for you. Thank you for the thumbs up. You know, that's good. We don't whine and cry like that. Now they're both adults, and you can see how it plays out in their lives as adults. All right, 50-pound dumbbells. Here we go. Thank you for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Like my kids will, on occasion, whine, and you'll see them do it, and you just have to teach them, nope, that's not how this works, buddy. We're not gonna whine. I tell them when they whine, I say, listen, when you whine, I can't understand you. If you want to say it clearly, then I'll understand you. And it's amazing how many things they can only say while whining. When they have to stop whining and try to articulate the same thing, it just falls short. And they kind of realize the way it sounds. But tell me clearly what you want so I can answer you. But I'm not going to understand whining. One of my kids is really good at it though, and they can drop tears quickly and amazingly well. And you have to really keep an ear out because when they get in conflicts with their sibling, like if you show up, they could be like super crying and look like they're hurt, but they're the ones that really cause the problem. And they're just the one that looks like the worst off fastest. So that's going to be a real treat when they get to school. If, teachers can't figure out that they're being manipulated by my kids. And it reminds me of my brother. My brother did the same thing, pull off the same routine with teachers. And they would always talk about like, they just can't discipline him because he just is so cute. Never had that problem. I was never that level of cute as a kid. But my brother was. And this kid is. I always had a lot of disdain for whining or looking weak. But man, my brother could pull it off. Well, I'll be right back. Speaking of parenting, gotta go take care of something real fast. Hey. All right. Don't have much longer. There's only so much time I can keep them chill from the monitor. I think that's gonna have to be my last set of the day. They are getting squirmy without me. The joys of parenting. All right, well, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Appreciate it. Hope you have a good Thursday, and God bless you. Thank you.